It is 2 o'clock, and so we will get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Your Environment, Your Health, with our special guest, Erin Knight. My name is April Wright, and I am the Outreach Librarian with Region 1 of the Network of the National Library of Medicine, the NNLM. Our guest presenter is Erin Knight, Head Librarian at the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences. Before I turn things over to Erin, I have just a few housekeeping items. Please be sure, let's see, check the chat. There's a caption link in the chat. And when you click on that link, it will take you to an external site. All you need to do is just press continue and you will see the captioning there. This webinar is being recorded, so it will be available on the NNLM YouTube channel in the next couple of weeks. And we are offer MLACEs for this class, and we will share the evaluation link with you at the end. And our presenter will answer questions at the end. So please put your questions and comments in the chat and send it to everyone. Before I turn it over to Erin, just a little bit about who we are. The NNLM is part of the National Institutes of Health because we are part of the National Library of Medicine, the world's largest biomedical library, which maintains and makes available a vast print collection and produces electronic information sources like Medline Plus and PubMed. The NNLM is the network of the National Library of Medicine and is the outreach program of the National Library of Medicine. The NNLM is made up of 7 geographic regions. NNLM's mission is to advance the progress of medicine and improve the public health by providing all U.S. health professionals with equal access to biomedical information and improving the public's access to information to enable them to make more informed decisions about their health. Region 1 is based at the University of Maryland, Baltimore, Health Sciences and Human Services Library. And we serve Delaware, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. What the NNLM does, the NNLM provides funding for health outreach projects, free webinars and classes like this one, and access to a network of public and academic libraries, community and faith-based organizations, and universities. Now, please join me in welcoming our guest presenter, Erin Knight. Since 2012, Erin has been the library manager at the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences, NIEHS, at Research Triangle Park, North Carolina. NIEHS is part of the National Institutes of Health and shares a catalog and wealth of electronic resources with the main NIH library. Before coming to NIEHS, Erin was head of Library and Information Services at the Hamner Institutes for Health Sciences and at the Illinois Natural History Survey Library at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Erin received her MSLS from the Catholic University in Washington, D.C. And I will turn it over to you, Erin.
Thank you, April. Can everybody hear me okay? I did see there's one note in the chat. Can someone, April, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and share my slides. Oops. Okay, is everyone able to see my full slide now? Title slide?
Looks good, Erin.
Great, thank you. Just wanted to be sure before I get started. Thank you for that introduction, April. As April stated, I've actually been here at NIEHS for almost 10 years, and We are on a beautiful campus in Research Triangle Park, North Carolina, but I'm working out of my office, which is a little boring, so I apologize. I also have a prescribed slide deck format I had to follow, so my slides are a tiny bit boring as well. But hopefully the talk will not be. And I thank Nora Weston from my library team who helped me punch them up a little bit. Hopefully Nora's on this call. But today I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about NIEHS, and most of the time we're going to be spending talking about the many, many free resources available to you from NIEHS. And then at the end, we're going to spend a little time talking about our library in case you're interested in knowing more. And we would love to be a partner with other biomedical libraries. So we'll talk more about that. So NIEHS is one of the 27 institutes and centers that make up National Institutes of Health. There are very few institutes or centers outside of Bethesda and Frederick, Maryland. So almost everything is in Maryland, but we are here in Research Triangle Park, North Carolina, which is actually in Durham. The Research Triangle Park is made up of that intersection of three major universities, NC State and Raleigh, Duke and Durham, and University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So those, if you look at it on a map, it forms a triangle, and that's why it's called Research Triangle Park. We share a campus with EPA. You can see the picture here with the building. This building actually has 6 modules, and the first module closest to this end of the picture is where the library resides and most of administration. But all of the other modules are floor-to-ceiling laboratory. So it's all laboratory space. There's a tremendous amount of research that goes on here. And our mission is to discover how the environment affects people in order to promote healthier lives. So anything that has to do with that junction of health and environment. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. We're also home to the National Toxicology Program. And the National Toxicology Program is actually a larger interagency organization that is made up of people from the National Center for Toxicological Research at the FDA, the CDC, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health under CDC is also part of NTP. And then here at NIEHS, we have a division of translational toxicology, and that is also part of NTP. So our headquarters for NTP is here, and then we also have a division, one of the 3 divisions is here, if that makes sense. The research here is very, very, very varied. We have about 11 branches and laboratories here that's part of our intramural research or in-house research. And then we also have several labs and branches that support all of this research, and they're called core labs. So the core labs are things like bioinformatics, mass spectrometry, neurobehavioral, viral vector core, and many others, including the library is considered a core lab or a core support service. We also have a clinical research unit here on site, and many studies are done. There's currently about 30 studies, and I'll show you on the website where to find a lot of this info. We also have a very large extramural research where we have a portfolio of environmental health research that they send the funding out all over the country. And so not only do they fund environmental health research, but they also fund training for future environmental health scientists. When we talk about research at the intersection of environment and health, you can imagine how broad that is. So if someone ever asks us, hey, I'd like you to do a search for me on air pollution and health, you can think, well, what is air pollution? There's so many things that can count as air pollution, and there's so many things that can count as health. And so some of our searches, literally the search strategies are pages and pages long. But This is just a few very general things that can constitute the environment. So everything that you'd probably think of right off the top of your head, like air pollutants or chemicals, heavy metals. But it's also things like the neighborhood where you live. And of course, the whole field now of environmental justice is something NIEHS is very plugged into. Because depending on where you live and where if your neighborhood's next to a highway or next to a port, you're going to have probably more health effects than someone living out in the country further. Your cell phones also are part of the environment, and we've done a lot of studies about cell phones. And then now, sort of the latest is the microbiome. So all the bacteria in your gut is now part of your environment, and how does that affect your health? So very broad, very interesting, and NIEHS will usually be researching anything at the intersection of these two things, but also especially if there's some sort of genetic component and how our genes may be determining how we respond or not respond. There are several free publications available from NIEHS. The first one is Environmental Health Perspectives. This is a journal that is open access. It also has many curated collections, such as a collection on environmental racism, a collection on wildfire smoke. They have a lot on their website, including podcasts. Some of their podcasts are about wind turbines, arsenic and obesity, etc. And April will be sending you a Word document that has the links to everything I'm covering today. And of course, it's also on the NIEHS website, but you will have a list of links for everything we cover today. There is a new journal now that we're going to handle here at NIEHS. It's called Journal of Health and Pollution. This was one that was published by a different group, but they've donated all past issues, and current issues will be coming out of the EHP family. So both of the journals, EHP and Journal of Health and Pollution, are in PubMed and PubMed Central. We also have the National Toxicology Program technical reports. So these are all available in PDF format from the NTP publications page. I believe there's over 600 National Toxicology Program technical reports. And then there's a variety of many other reports and series of reports from NTP. One example is the report on carcinogens, and this is a congressionally mandated annual report that basically summarizes currently about 256 listings of substances that are either known or reasonably anticipated to cause cancer in humans. So this report is a really big deal, always presented to Congress, and lots of interesting material there. We also have several newsletters. Our flagship really is the Environmental Factor, also called E-Factor. You can sign up to receive all of these in your email if you decide to. But the Environmental Factor will have science highlights, community impact stories, examples of some intramural and extramural papers, and a section called Beyond the Bench that is just nice because it tells you other things that are going on at the Institute. So if we're celebrating a certain NIH portfolio month, such as a Native American Heritage Month, and we have a special speaker, it'll be in the E-Factor. And it's a great way to just kind of keep up of what's going on, especially the research at NIEHS. We also have a global environmental health newsletter. It is focusing really on NIEHS science and policy related to global environmental health, but it also contains a lot about training in this field, and sometimes there's some job announcements. Another is called Partnerships for Environmental Public Health. And this newsletter is really showing or trying to showcase research that is addressing things that are of real concern to the public. So anything that's going to be in the news a lot is probably going to be covered here. And it'll have lots of training materials, information on events, and also grant opportunities. Our Women's Health Awareness newsletter comes out of our clinical research unit, and it is really just the goal is to help people be healthier. And they send it out periodically to just kind of keep people supported throughout the whole year. And they provide health education materials and also encouragement. And every year they have a large Women's Health Awareness Day here in Durham, North Carolina. They partner with North Carolina Central University to put this on, and it's free, and it's a whole day of events where everything from on-site mammograms to information on diabetes, nutrition, etc. So, and our library usually participates in that, but they always have several hundred women come, usually 800 to 900 a year. So it's a great event. NIH also now has some literature portals. This is kind of a new thing for them that they're trying. They've been very popular. I'll show you where these are on the website when we finish. But the Climate Change and Human Health was our first one. It's a curated literature portal or database of all global peer-reviewed research and gray literature on science that talks about that intersection of climate change and human health. This portal also has an instructional video to watch first because the portals have a whole bunch of filters you can use. And it kind of helps to watch that instructional video first to see the best way to search. There's also a disaster research response, which is really interesting. The disaster research response program called DR2 is a larger NIH initiative, but it's housed here at NIEHS. And this has a whole bunch of different data collection tools that first responders may use or public health officials may need it in the event of an emergency somewhere. So there's things like maybe a short survey form to give to first responders to see how they're doing. There's lots of training materials, everything dealing any sorts of disasters from floods, fires, hurricanes, and really lots of interesting material there. And then our most recent portal isn't really quite a portal yet. It's all on PFAS and related substances. But right now, they're still calling it a database. It's not in the exact portal framework yet, but that is coming very soon. Our library has helped with this, and most of these are all publications that are NIEHS funded that have anything to do with PFAS and those related, chemicals called forever chemicals that are very high interest right now. And all the portals are listed, and I'll show you this on the website, but they are listed under the research section, and then there's something called resources for scientists, and so that's where the portals live. There's extensive brochures and fact sheets available to you. Here on this brochure and fact sheet page, I just am showing the first few, but there's several hundred there. One is on the agricultural health study, and then there's also a full report here called Human Health Perspective on Climate Change. So even though it's called brochures and fact sheets, there really is a lot of extra info there and full reports. We also have environmental health topic summaries, which are really nice. that just give you kind of a quick updated version of what's going on with this topic at this time and what research NIEHS has done around it. You'll see the top 8 are listed there: air pollution, autoimmune diseases, endocrine disruptors, reproductive health. There's many more, but this is really helpful if you are looking just for some quick information and a nice summary. We also have a very extensive science education program. There is a program called Scholars Connect. This is where students studying in the STEM fields at HBCUs and other academic institutions can come for an entire year. They're assigned to a lab and they work part-time. They get paid quite generously. So they go to school, they're working in a lab, they're getting great experience, and they're able to do a lot of things like put together posters, present their posters. They do presentations on where they have to describe their research in 3 minutes, called the elevator pitch. It's a really good program, and our library partners with the organizers, and we put together a science it's basically a library boot camp for the Scholars Connect, and we train them on literature searching, using EndNote, using all the different resources we have available. There's also a summer internship, and that's part of the larger NIH program. The Scholars Connect program, I should say, is pretty much just here at NIEHS as far as I know, and the whole point of it is to increase diversity in environmental health science. There are also many science education materials available for students and teachers and parents. There's lessons plans, modules, videos, and all of that is searchable by grade level on the science education site. There's also sort of a fun little kids environment, kids health page where it has games, puzzles, songs for the very young crowd. We also have several podcasts. The environmental health chat is usually something to do with climate change, air pollution, any of those big topics. And it often will have someone outside of NIEHS as the speaker. The global environmental health we'll be talking more about broader global issues like perhaps deforestation, malaria, things like this. And then the Speaking of Science podcast is from the intramural research program. So those are researchers that are not grantees that are here either at NIEHS or NIH. So there's lots of info, and I encourage you to explore all of these when you have time. The last kind of section of tools I want to show you there's a lot of software available for free download on the NIEHS website. And this is just one example, the COVID-19 Pandemic Vulnerability Index. This was put together very, very early in the pandemic, and it was a collaboration between NIEHS, North Carolina State, and Texas A&M. And it basically, you can drill down and it provides population level data on communities most at risk, and was designed as a tool to help policymakers and leaders in all over the country to just get more information. And you can create risk profiles, which are called PBI scorecards for every county in the US. It's part of CDC's COVID-19 data tracker and ties in a lot with health equity. There is a quick start guide. I have to admit, I have not used this in a long time. It was very interesting at the beginning, and I just sort of gotten away from it, looking at it much. But there is a quick start guide here. You can see right above the map on the right. And there's also a couple scientific articles about this tool. And again, it'll be on the handout you receive. If you do have interest in NIEHS and you want to stay up to date, there are several social media tools you can use that are here in the slides: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and the RSS feed. I will say that I have been here, I mentioned 10 years, and I knew a lot that was on the website, but I didn't know there was quite so much as I found as I've been working on this the last several weeks. I was just really impressed by how much we have available. And of course, that's the fun of being a librarian, is when you're trying to share info with others, you can't help but learn a lot of new things yourself. So it was really neat to kind of take a deep dive into the website. I want to talk just a few minutes before we go to questions about our library. So we are part of the NIH library system. We share a catalog and a whole bunch of resources with big NIH, and they're wonderful to work with. We are open to the public and to outside researchers by appointment. And that info is on our external library page, which I'll show you, and it will be on your list. Our public-facing page does not have a lot of info because our primary clientele are the researchers here at NIEHS, but it will let you search our catalog, and it provides contact info to make an appointment. This is Elise Owak here. She's our library technical assistant extraordinaire, and she handles all of our document delivery ILL functions. So we are a free and fast lender. If you are a library and you're always looking for ways to get the info you need quickly, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our OCLC symbol is HNE, and we are part of the Elvis or libraries very interested in sharing groups. And then we're also in DocLine, and that's our DocLine symbol. We always are willing to talk to other libraries and students, welcome ideas for collaboration or ways we can work together. I'm Student Relations Chair for the Carolinas Community of Special Libraries Association, and so I do spend a lot of time just talking to students. If you have students or you know students in the library school and they want to talk to someone as a science library example, we're happy to do that. We also like to just talk to other libraries so we could kind of do peer benchmarking. That's part of our contract, that we're supposed to be making sure we know what other libraries are doing. And it's always helpful, I think, for both sides. So if you have any interest, definitely please just reach out to me. We have a really great team. There's 5 of us total. We could certainly use one more person, but we've got 5 right now. In addition to myself, there's Nora Weston, and she's Access and Reference Services librarian, but the reality is she's really acts as a scholarly communications librarian. So we have a whole bunch of things. If you publish at NIH, of course, you have to make sure everything's approved, and you have to make sure your publications end up in PubMed Central. And so there's a lot of steps to go through, and Nora is a big source of support for that. And then Kelly is our library fellow. So this is pretty unique. We have a library fellow position, which is a 2-year fellowship. It's for a recent graduate, and then it gives them real-world library experience, helps them figure out exactly what kind of librarian they might want to be, and then it gives us some great help. So Kelly assists everybody and does every single library function there is to do here. And then Stacy Mantuz is our information services librarian. So she's our lead on bibliometrics and literature searching. And then Elise, I mentioned, is our library technical assistant, handles all interlibrary loan and also just takes care of our collection. And we all teach classes and help with reference, staff the reference desk, etc. Because we share a catalog with NIH Library, we do have access to about 13,000 journals, e-journals. They are now up to over 170,000 ebooks, which is just mind-boggling to me. They have always liked ebooks at the NIH Library, and of course, once the pandemic hit, we had so many already in place and so many electronic tools at our disposal that switching to telework was really quite easy because we had so many resources available online. But they're up to about 170 ebooks now. We have about, I think it's 54 databases now. And then in our particular print collection here in Durham, we have about 15,000 print books. This is just a quick slide of our services. We do lots of literature searches and research alerts, many bibliometrics, both bibliometric reports and bibliometric visualizations so that we can help show our value and the reach and the scope of some of the researchers here. They really like it when we do those visualizations that can show who they've co-authored with or how many different other institutions they've partnered with. Also, again, lots of scholarly communication support, many classes, and document delivery. Our other big service is EndNote. EndNote's the only reference manager software that's supported here at NIEHS, so that's the only one we have to worry about. And so we do a lot of training on that and helping people troubleshoot. These are some of our classes. I won't read all these, but just to give you an idea, probably EndNote and PubMed, of course, are the most popular ones. And right now, we're mostly doing this over zoom.gov. We are in the library each day. We have coverage, but there's just one of us in the library each day. So all of us telework 4 days a week and are in person 1 day, which has worked really well for covering the physical library. We also have a special collection that's called the Diversity Collection. And we've partnered with the Office of Scientific Education and Diversity to help cover all the NIH portfolio months. So whether it be Native American Health or Black History Month, we also do a lot around mental health awareness. All of those things that don't really fall into our normal science collection that can be considered diversity. So things on women in science, etc. And this has been really popular to help bring people into the library and every month Nora does an email announcing the portfolio month and all the different resources we have. And sometimes those are books and ebooks, but sometimes there's also, she'll list podcasts and websites. And every month she gets a thank you, at least one thank you from someone for putting those together. So that's great. And then we have a work-life collection, which just helps with all those things. Again, maybe not the science stuff, but everything that helps with work-life balance, finances, exercise, elder care, child care, etc. And we do have a really nice physical setting. We are on the lake here on campus, and we have study carols, popular reading area, and people do come down for the lake views. I do want to just quickly take a couple minutes, make sure I'm okay on time, and show you our website, and then we'll go to questions. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Okay, is everybody now seeing the NIEHS website? April, can you confirm?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So if you are here on the NIEHS website, it is pretty easy to navigate. It's got the sections across the top here, but even if you just scroll down, you'll see coming events and main attractions at the top. All those newsletters I mentioned are here. You can click to look at them and or sign up to get them in your email if you decide to. We have the listing of events, and then a little snippet on current research, funding opportunities, and then news releases, popular health topics, which are those environmental health topic summaries. But if you go back to the top, just wanted to show you a couple things. Under research is where you're going to find all the description of our different labs and branches and what sort of things we're working on now. You can go to explore research, and then there is this search engine called What We Study. So you can put in different keywords, and you can also select from all these drop downs. So this is a really great way if you're looking for a research topic to see if we've covered it, and it'll take you to a bunch of information. Also under research is resources for scientists, and this is where the portals are going to live. And it is slightly confusing because two of them are under articles and journals. The climate change portal and the PFAS. But the disaster research response portal is under databases. And it's right here. And then you can, they're very easy to search. Well, easy is probably not the right word, but let me go back. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to the climate change and human health portal. Again, there's this instructional video that you can watch. I think it's only about 8 minutes long. And then you can also search with filters. And then once you search, it'll let you download the results in Excel or to PDF, or you can email them to yourself. But it's very nice just to take a look at all three portals and see a lot of it, at least for climate change and PFAS, is going to be coming out of PubMed. But again, the disaster resource response one has a lot of other resources and tools that wouldn't be in PubMed. And then the news and events page will also take you to the podcast and to the newsletters. There's also the funding opportunities. I'm sorry, backing up for a moment. I'm going to go to research and then funded by NIEHS grants. And there is a database here called Who We Fund. And again, you can search by topic and find out, it's not dissimilar from NIH Grants Reporter, but it might be just another tool to find info if you're looking, especially if you want it by state, etc. So there is a lot here. The search toolbox works fine too. But I do encourage you to spend some time, looking at this and exploring as I did. And there's just a lot there. And the health and education is where all the science education is. So you can go to for scientists or students or educators, and then you can click on what you might want to be interested in and which grade level, and it'll bring you to curricula. So that's really nice. So I think I will stop there since it's 2:39. And happy to take any questions at this point.
Erin, thank you so much for that presentation. A lot of really good information. So far, I haven't seen any questions in the chat. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to share them in the chat. And in the
I hope I didn't go through it too quick, but I was supposed to stop at 2:40, so that's why I wanted to make sure and stop. But yeah, I would welcome questions.
Okay, while we wait for some questions to kind of come through, I'll share my screen, being one who doesn't like silence that much. I'll just share a little more information. As Erin mentioned, we will share the links, you know, in a separate document. We do have a question.
Okay.
From Pamela Kemp. I just want to check, are the materials in your portal designed for the general public?
That's a good question. They're all going to be peer-reviewed literature in terms of the articles, but I do believe you can search for things you can limit to reviews or editorial commentaries. So reviews. So they will be science publications for the climate change and the PFAS, but the disaster research is going to be more resources, things other than articles like surveys or fact sheets, things like that. But they should be, it should be accessible. I mean, in terms of especially review articles. So I hope that helps. And Pam saying she'd like to gather for a public library. So yes, I think a lot of the fact sheets and brochures, Pam, would be really good for a public library. And if you want like print copies, I'm sure we could send some. I'd have to find that out for sure, but I think we'd be able to send some if you decide you'd like that. Because there is just so much interest in these topics, the more, you know, things like PFAS, nobody had really heard about a couple of years back, but now most people have at least heard it. And of course, water quality and lead and all of that is very high interest. And I do have my contact info at the end of the slides and on the fact sheet, so don't hesitate to reach out. Is there anything I didn't cover that people are wondering about, like that I can answer? Something you were expecting to hear and you didn't?
I have a question,
Sure.
and hopefully I didn't miss something. As far as, you know, you mentioned, you know, information about lead and you know, yeah, lead poisoning and things. Are there, so there are resources that will give you kind of information on that, and are they is that information, it's consumer accessible to consumers?
Yes, absolutely. So that again would also be under environmental health topics. And then there'll be a fact sheet on lead and other resources in terms of what NIEHS is doing around the research. But it'll always be like a good summary overview, which should be very helpful. And then there'd also be NTP reports, which are going to be really detailed, and those are not, you know, necessarily for the public, but they're still publicly available if someone wants to get to them. They're just written more at a scientific level. But probably the best starting point is the environmental health topics under education. That'll give you a real good flavor of all the different types of info that's there and what we cover. I see a question. Does your library conduct educational programs on environmental health for the public? So we do have a speakers bureau. It's also on the education page in that first tab. I do not know how much they're doing virtually. They were doing in-person events before the pandemic, but I can find that out for you, Pamela. We do have on-site tours and virtual tours of campus. There's our unofficial historian here is named John Shelp, and he gives just absolutely wonderful overviews of NIEHS and virtual tours. But I can follow up with you, Pamela. And the Speakers Bureau page might say right now if they're doing virtual. I don't know that off the top of my head, sorry. I'm not sure how many of my library teammates are on the call, but I think a couple of them are. So if they feel like I forgot to say anything important, they can get on the chat and tell me. But we do have a really good library team. And again, we're right here near UNC's library school, and UNC Greensboro has a library school, and that North Carolina Central is right here in Durham, and North Carolina Central is the only HBCU that has a library school in the country. So we have there's a lot of librarians in RTP. But if we don't have questions, I'm fine to end early, April, if that's okay with you, but I'm also happy to stay on, so.
No, that sounds good. Yeah, if we don't have any other questions, I did drop your email address in the
Perfect.
chat, and
you will be sending out the slides and the sheet with all the links, so that's great. And if anybody thinks of questions later, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
yes. And I will do, close out. I did put the evaluation link into the chat. And just really quick, I just want to share some outgoing information for you. Thank you so much, Erin, for your
Sure, you're welcome.
for your presentation. This was great.
And thank you everyone for attending.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Our next environmental health webinar is going to be tomorrow. Kind of have them back to back. And it's called Libraries as Hub for Citizen Science, Partnering with Academia to Improve the Health of Communities. And this will cover the Radon on the Radar project, which was funded by NIEHS. So hopefully you can join us for that. If not, it will be recorded. And if you want to learn more about environmental health and justice, just like a basics, you can check out the NNLM on-demand class, Environmental Health and Justice, a brief primer. And you can go to nnlm.gov/training to register for that. And there's the evaluation link. So please, please fill out the evaluation so that you can get the credit for the class. And I will stick it back in the chat or put it in the chat again. There you have it. And thank you all so very much for joining us. And we will go ahead and end the recording. Thank you. Thanks again, Erin.
You're welcome. Thank you.